brilliant innocence of God, magnificence that is your divine spirit, has absolutely no resemblance to the separate identity that has been made through every lifetime. Every identity that has been made, and that essence of separation that called forth the incarnation into matter, into an identity. Every one every element of that identity is completely without any resemblance at all to the divine being that is the spirit of love within. This divine being that for the most part is not recognized until finally the question comes, what am I if I'm not this identity developed in the past? What am I? Who am I? And what is this all for? But deep within is the recognition, the hint of the innocent magnificence of your divine spirit. The Holy Spirit that is within is waiting to be discovered. And that discovery is the purpose of incarnation. There would be no need for incarnation if there wasn't an erroneous belief that you are temporary and that you are separate. It seems to be a matter of fact that the belief that is held of birth and death seems so reasonable, and everyone is preparing for what seems to be the end. But in truth, there was no birth and there will be no death. Incarnation is a temporary stopping place of the opportunity of remembering wholeness and innocence and perfection, and to return home to the oneness of God. That is your purpose. Imagine that if you focused on this purpose as the gift of time, and all of your focus was in that devotion, all of the ideas of purpose within the world would not only fade away, but be seen for goals so trivial that they would almost disappear just by being able to see them for their littleness. But every goal that has been made within the world, within the use of time, can be surrendered, can truly be surrendered into the hands of love, and then become of service. The idea of getting will disappear, and only the offering of love will be generated through all purpose. You could be washing dishes and believe that your purpose is to finish washing the dishes, and that there will be a satisfaction from the completion of that task. But in truth, if the washing of the dishes is surrendered, it becomes the task of love. It becomes a meditation. It becomes a gift that is being offered. You don't have to know what the gift is. And in most circumstances, you won't have a clue what the gift is. It's just the calling to offer love. The teaching to chop wood and carry water, whether you're aware or you're not aware, to chop wood and carry water looks the same, like the same form. But when it is used as a meditation, as love, as an offering to God, to serve God's beloveds, then it becomes a place of an open heart and joy and peace. And all of the ideas of getting anything from it, like anyone noticing that you're chopping wood and carrying water and you want acknowledgement, or the ego wants an accolade of good job. All of these ideas of getting through the world's activities are the place of pain and suffering. To be looking for acknowledgement in any way is to suffer. Because the acknowledgement itself, the looking for the acknowledgement, is already assuming and promoting that you are without. That there is something missing within you that you have to get, that you have to prove your worth in some way within the world. And this is always a place of pain. And it's also a place that promotes a sense of betrayal of others that cannot supply the acknowledgement that you're looking for. Because the acknowledgement that you're looking for is really the return to love, the return to God, the realization within your heart and mind that you are perfect and whole and complete. And the more that you resist the temptation of trying to get from the outside world, and the more that you go within to commune with the spirit of love, the more that your heart begins to rest and your mind begins to rest, trusting that you are whole and complete and the light of God. This is where the resting begins. Resting in the trust that you are loved and that you are love itself. And that all the dreams and nightmares of the past of being without, all the evidence that you tried to gather in the name of lack can be truly surrendered. And you can open to the perfection that's already present within. And in that willingness to see the perfection within is also the calling to see the perfection in all beloveds, in all creation. Love calls you to stop, to truly stop, to look at anything outside and miss the opportunity of seeing past the form into the light of the creation of God. If you miss it, you've chosen instead the form of habit and the form of the trance, of just looking through the eyes of the past rather than stopping and embracing with gratitude the divine that is waiting for you to recognize its magnificence. Every leaf, of every living plant is being called to see beyond the form and meet the divine, the eternal light that never dies. The idea that every plant and every bit of creation dies, so there's nothing lasting, is the illusion of the mind. Because as you stop and meet every plant, every living element, there is a living divine being that your heart can see. When your heart is still and available. And that is your choice. Every day, every moment, to use time by surrendering time to the Holy Spirit and allowing time to show you the timelessness beyond. To use every moment for that divine communication. There's a beautiful teaching that says it is totally possible and will be eventually all that you live in, to be in direct communication with God as you walk in the everyday life. Ask for that guidance to show you the way to that communication. Ask, request of the Spirit of love that this is what you want. And it will be provided, because when it is what you want, all of creation, all of the divine beings will help you to enter into that communion. The only thing that stands in the way of that communion is the mind of the habits of the past that are constantly insistent on being the knower. Enter with humility and great wanting to open to that divine communion that is always available, moment to moment, is the blessing of love and healing. There isn't a moment that does not contain all healing and all miracles and all transformation. There's not a moment. Every moment is filled with the potential of blessings and learning. Is there resistance to learning? Absolutely. The resistance to learning is fear. The fear that says, I have to hold on to what I know because it gives me a sense of being in control. As if the feeling of expansion and being guided is horribly fearful. You've been sold a bill of goods about fear. And you've been sold a bill of goods about control in believing that that's what you truly want. When deep, deep within, what you truly want is to return home, to rest in God. To surrender the journey and to open to this divine communion of love. Every moment is the opportunity of yes. So simple, and yet the power within the universe that can completely transform and transmute your existence. The power of your yes. So in this moment, affirming that you are willing to accept the infinite circle of love, and that you will not taint this infinite circle of love with any ideas of individual differences. Letting all of the infinite circle of love be in that complete oneness and the complete union, that you will begin to recognize that you are seeing and embracing the truth of yourself with every beloved. That it's a reflection, and that everyone is not you as you think you know you, but as the holiness of God. All of the identities fall away because they never were the truth of who you are. And the Spirit shines through. The Holy Spirit of oneness. Let your heart burst. Invite it to burst. Invite the divine alchemy of love to open the heart and open the mind and surrender it back to God. Don't be afraid to ask for the power of God to intervene and heal everything. Healing only what has been mistakenly held as separate. This is the power of your yes, the power of your prayer that has no limitation, none at all. Affirming in this moment that the universe is all love, nothing else exists. That this sanctuary is filled with love because love is all that there is. Nothing else is accepted. And affirming in your heart that the infiniteness of God, the power of God is here. And that the life force of God is your divine spirit. That life force of God is your life force that has no beginning and no end. Accepting that within this life force we live and move and breathe, even within a temporary form. That life force is the center of your being. It's all love, it's all light, and it's all innocence. Nothing for you to do to improve, just the willingness to shed the coat of a false identity, laying it down and coming back naked unto God. Only one heart, eternally, in divine union, In this moment, to keep affirming that through prayer, you are invoking a power of transformation. Pray all day, not for getting, but for praise, for affirming communion. Pray all day. Pray all day to be shown the way. Pray all day to be shown the deeper truth that is waiting behind the form. Pray. Pray to see the light in each beloved. Pray to see the innocence that is the truth. Pray to let your heart be filled with peace when there is any temptation to be in the belief of pressure or pushed or believing in something that is disturbing. Pray. Pray to be returned, that you truly want to return to peace and harmony. And expect that your prayer is always answered. Pray for strength. Pray for the calm that is not yet totally familiar. Pray for the joy of being available to learn. Pray for the joy of forgiveness, of everything that you maybe thought you knew, but now you're coming back to just resting in God. Allow prayer, the power of prayer, to have its way with you. And in this moment, allowing this prayer to stir your heart and to invite the divine beings that brought these prayers, because every prayer that you bring into your awareness is connected to a divine being that is being called to serve you. The prayer is not just to hear the words in your mind, but that you are communicating with a divine being that wants to serve you. And really open that channel constantly to be in that divine communion. And in the prayer, the happiness for having your prayers always answered. The confidence of the strength of your request. That if that request is helpful, it will always be answered. If you want strength, strength will come through your request. If you want peace, peace will come through your request. Whatever it is that is most helpful will always be answered. You have that power within you. Allow this prayer to touch your heart and help you rest. Feel your tenderness, I feel your tenderness. I feel the tenderness of your ever-loving hand. I feel the tenderness. I feel your tenderness. I feel the tenderness from deep within. I feel your mercy, Lord. I feel your mercy, Lord. I feel the mercy, Lord, of your ever-loving hand. I feel your mercy, Lord. I feel the mercy, Lord. I feel your mercy, Lord, from deep within. I sense your beauty, Lord. I see your beauty, Lord. I see your beauty, Lord, of your ever-loving hand. I see the beauty, Lord. I see the beauty, Lord. I see the beauty, Lord, from deep within. I sense your truth, O Lord. I sense your truth, O Lord. I sense your truth, O Lord, of your ever-loving hand. I sense the truth, O Lord. I sense the truth, O Lord. I sense the truth, O Lord, from deep within. The calling of love. Do you see the beauty? The beauty that is the truth of God. It's everywhere, beyond the form. Can there be a more perfect moment than walking in this world and seeing the beauty of God's grace? The willingness to see the beauty of God's grace is the grace of God. To want to see the beauty of God's grace is to open to the grace and invoke the grace to reveal itself so that you can embrace it and bring it into your heart. To really realize that miracles are occurring all the time because miracles are love. And all that you're asked to do is to step back and let the power of God have your life. To allow the power of God, the beauty of God, the tenderness of God, the innocence, all be manifested in your everyday life because you are connected and in that communion by choice. You have the power of that choice. And to forgive yourself for all of the time that you forget. in the forgiveness is also the grace that you reaffirm yourself daily, even moment to moment, to your true purpose. And that you forgive the trance and the habits of battle in the world in all of its various ways, and come back to that tenderness. Come back. To invoking the miracles because you want to offer miracles and because miracles are for you. The gift of love is constantly pouring, and it pours through miracles, and it pours through grace, and it pours through peace that is available, and all the beauty that is here in every moment. All the gifts of love that are calling you back home to return to love itself. Lift my mind, elevate my thoughts to God in the highest, to open the mind to the vibration of God, and to realize the brilliance that is here now on the earth plane and in the firmament, that all is available to see and to be with and to return home to. This is the journey. The brilliance of the firmament and the brilliance of the light of God that is here in this moment. It is a marvelous light that opens your heart and invigorates your mind with the purity of truth. This is the way back home. I am here to sing of love. I want my heart to be singing all the time of God and love. As I praise all divine beings for their help, for their grace, for that pure love that is always by my side. Every moment filled with the divine prayer, show me the way. Elevei o pensamento a Deus lá nas alturas para reconhecer o brilho da formosura, o brilho da formosura e uma luz de alento que limpa meu coração e vigora meu pensamento. Aqui eu vou cantando que a minha linda reza viva Rei Ramidã e a rainha da floresta. Praising the divine helps your heart to burst open, helps your mind to be not only cleansed but invigorated with only thoughts of God, only thoughts of harmony and peace. And at the same time, as your mind is invigorated and your heart is opened, it's the realization that it is the gift of refusing the mind's thoughts of the past, all of the habits that run the mind in its pretense of knowing, and truly making the infinite connection that this is your constant choosing to surrender all thoughts of the past, no matter how tempting those thoughts are, of what you think you know, and wanting the evidence of the illusion. But that as you surrender all those thoughts, you are also opening your mind and heart to the praise and the glory of God. Making those divine choices. And affirming that you can make those choices. That there is nothing that is difficult about it except in the mind that wants to make it difficult. To praise God is not difficult. To praise love, to affirm healing and the miracles of love is the joy of recognition. Thank God, there is a world and a life beyond what you thought you knew. Thank God that love is real. Thank God that you are perfect. Thank God that you are the light. Thank God that the past can just disappear. I have come into this world to see this. I've come into this world to see the sword drop from every beloved's hands, even at the height of their arc of anger. Because we have finally realized there is just one flesh to wound, and it is His, the Christ's, our beloved's. I have come into this world to see this, all creatures holding hands, as we pass through the existence we share on the way to even a greater being of soul and spirit. A being of just ecstatic light, forever entwined and at play with the divine. I have come into this world to hear this, every song that has been sung since it was conceived in the divine's womb. Every song the heart should cry with magnificent dignity to know itself as God. For all other knowing will leave us again in want and aching. Only imbibing the glorious Sun will complete us. I have come into this world to experience this, beloved so true to love that they would rather die before thinking or speaking an unkind word. I have come into this world to see this. The sword drop from every beloved's hand, even at the height of their arc of rage. Because we have finally realized that there is just one beloved that we can wound, and it is our own. Every beloved has come into the world to see this, to open the heart to what you're really here for. How many times have you seen symbolically anyone in the arc of anger be willing to drop their sword? And to make the connection that when that sword is dropped, if you are holding the intention that these are the beloveds of God, you will bring the power of truth and the swords will drop. Not because the swords are threatening to you personally, but because you want those beloveds to realize the light and the innocence that they are, and that anger has no truth at all, has no foundation, has no reality. What happens often in those moments of learning, when we see the swords and we see the anger, is either fear comes up of self-protection, or there can even be an agreement of trying to bring the truth, but only seeing the illusion. The illusion of joining with anyone in their sense of disturbance, instead of holding them in the peace and the joy and the truth of their innocent heart. The temptation is to not join any beloved in their belief of the righteousness of anger, the righteousness of any idea that is not of peace and joy. Not trying to convince them, but holding them in the heart, in your own peace, in your own confidence that they are the light of God and that they can drop the swords even in the middle of their arc of anger. This is the way of love, and this is what we have all come to see, is the dismantling of the false identity through the power of your willingness to affirm love. To see with compassion and with strength that it isn't God's will for anyone to suffer. And that the suffering that is seen can be transformed and let go through the miracle of love. You have come to see this, but you have also come to be the minister of that truth, to bring the light to all of humanity, to realize that there is only one flesh to wound, and that is our beloved, the Christ, who is the truth of all creation. Everyone is the Christ. Everyone is our beloved in the truth of oneness. There is no one on this earth that is deserving of attack, that is deserving of condemnation, that is deserving of judgment. There is no healing in those agreements, and they're being called to be let go. I have come into the world to see this, all creatures holding hands as we pass through this existence we share on the way to even a greater being of soul. This is the journey, to hold hands in the oneness as we pass through this existence to the greater journey of the soul, to remember the wholeness of one heart, one love. Holding hands. This can be symbolically connected. You're not being called to grab everybody's hand and hold on to the physical form holding everybody's hand, but your heart is being called to hold hands, to connect, to open, and to forgive. To forgive every idea that you've carried of anyone's rights or wrongs. What you like and what you don't like means absolutely nothing. It's been totally fabricated. And that's what each beloved is being called to recognize, that every moment is either having your mind focused on peace and harmony, or the habits of the past, which are filled with likes and dislikes and the ideas of right and wrong and reactions to of any kind. The immediate forgiveness, which does not mean that you are saying, well, you're really a mess, but I'm going to be gracious and forgive you. No. To really see beyond what you think your eyes are seeing and that your reactions are maybe coming up for, but to really affirm that this is the beloved of God, whole and complete, and that you're bringing that truth is where the healing is. You are the bringer of healing. You may not see a result, which the ego is what the ego wants. The ego wants to see a result, to play a game. I want cause and effect of my power. That's not how miracles work. Miracles are without time. So that when you offer love and you offer healing through the forgiveness of any idea of anyone's rights or wrongs or good or bad or anything, when you offer that, when you step out of the illusion of the false identity, when you're stepping out of the illusion of their false identity for them, because that is what the offering really is, to step out of the identity for them. You gave them that identity. They have their own identity. But what identity you're holding of every beloved is being called to be surrendered. I don't know who you are. I don't know how to look on you except that I want to look through the heart and the vision of God. I want to bring healing, and this is what healing is to forgive every identity. I have come into this world to see this, to see miracles made manifest, for love to bloom right now, right here, to drop all ideas of likes and dislikes and good and bad and any assessments of anyone or anything, and to come back to that peace, because everyone is the Christ. Everyone. I've come into this world to see all creatures passing, all creatures holding hands as we pass through this existence we share. It is your heart and your mind that has the power of transformation within it. As you live in that love, moment to moment, you offer that love. You offer it and you connect. The union of truth, the infinite union of our oneness comes through your willingness to accept and bless each beloved. That's how the union is seen and felt and lived, through your power of your yes and your willingness to forgive every idea of separation. Is it asking too much? No. It's natural. It's just calling you to your natural state of love. If I say to you, and I promise that this is true, that there is no judgment in God. If there is no judgment in God, there can't be any judgment in you. You're not being judged. God is not judging you. There's nothing to judge. God sees only the truth, which is the light and beauty and magnificence that you are. Nothing else is true. So when you step into that acceptance and you want to see only the truth of every beloved, and you bring that intention, you are completely joining with God. You are aligning with your true nature and stepping away from a false identity that never had any truth to it. You're shedding the skin. You're shedding the identity that has been so painful, that has been the cause of all the pain. No truth there. So you're coming home to truth. The willingness to join hands and recognize that not only are we the greater being of soul, but that we are a being of just ecstatic light. Every time you offer love, without judgment, without any attachment, and truly offer love, you are affirming that we are the ecstatic light, and that you are inviting each beloved that you hold in that light as that ecstatic light. That's the power that you carry. There is no power in judgment, assessments, opinions. There's no power there. the power that it has is the power that you're giving to it through your choice, because you're using the power of God and twisting it to make judgments and opinions. And in that you suffer. You suffer through the power of those thoughts. It's a direct cause and effect. You believe that everyone does. The belief is that all of the pain and suffering is coming from the outside. But it's all coming from the mind of judgment. And the power that you give those judgments is your pain. It's an imprisonment, a self-made imprisonment that has no purpose and is unconsciously chosen for the most part. But the healing journey of love, the purpose of our being here, is to come into consciousness, to actually become conscious of what you're choosing. That's coming out of the trance, coming out of the dream, so that you are choosing to not suffer, that you are choosing to accept peace and harmony and joy as natural, the truth of who you are, and that you're not willing to attack yourself anymore with judgments and opinions, even when they seem to be pointed at others or other circumstances or other situations. It doesn't matter, because it all bounces right back and it's all yours. There's no love there. And you are love, so you're in a false identity that has no reality. And this is the calling that you can choose love all day through prayer, asking for strength, asking for clarity, truth, and wanting to see the sword drop from every beloved's hand, even at the height of their arc of anger. And to drop the swords that you're holding also, of course. That's the glory, is to drop the swords of believing that there's something to fight for or defend. I've come into this world to hear this, every song that has been sung since it was conceived in the divine's womb. Every song. All the hymns that we sing, again, are all brought by divine beings. All sacred songs. They're all calling you to a deeper world, a world of harmony and peace, the universe. It's filled with song. You have to be available to hear the song. That's in the stillness, in your quiet heart, in your willingness to hear it. It's not going to sound like a top 40 tune, but you're going to recognize those songs. And they're going to fill your heart with a joy of connection. Because that's the journey home, is to reconnect to love. Reconnect and be rebirthed into the truth of love. Remembering the truth. I have come into this world for every song the heart should cry with magnificent dignity to know itself as God. Every song. It's a world, it's a universe of creation that has no resemblance to the world of illusion that is temporary. And all of love is just calling you to return, to take the steps of letting go of what you thought you knew and come back, truly come back. It will be familiar because deep within you, you remember. You remember. But how do you get to that remembering? It's by letting go of the blocks that have been made against it. You can't serve two masters. You can't be knowing and surrendering at the same time. You can't be in communion with God and knowing everything that you think you know at the same time. So what has to be let go of is all the knowing, because it's been made up. All the knowing that you have has been made through time. Some of it comes from past lives that you carry over into this incarnation, and then you add to it, you affirm it again and again, and it builds an entire case for separation. But the humility is calling you to truly let it go and really be so grateful that you don't know how to look at anything or how to meet something that you don't know, and that you're asking God to show you. Show me the way, please. I want to be shown. I want to learn. I have come in this world to see this, that the sword drop from every beloved's hand, even in the height of their arc of rage. Because we have finally realized that is just one flesh we can wound, and it's our own. When you believe you see anger and a sword raised, and you agree that this is dangerous, and you agree that this is bad, you're not realizing that you're wounding yourself with the illusion that you bring a little bit of truth to, but you're not bringing truth to it. You're believing in the illusion of the rage that has no reality. There is no rage in God, so there cannot be rage in anyone. They can believe that there's rage, and you can develop an entire emotional system that says, yes, this is rage, I've identified it. And you can attach it to whatever you want to attach it to, of being unfairly treated, of believing that you have been given a raw deal of some kind. Everybody has the same belief, but this is where the healing is. To be aware that each one must be seen as the divine. When someone does something or says something, even if it's about you, particularly if it's about you, because that's one of the greatest fears, because the belief in attack is held dearly. But when you believe that, it's the questioning of, do I consider this to be personal? Or do I hear the call for love? Do I take this, what I'm perceiving as an attack, do I take it personally? Or do I recognize it as a call for love? Do I refuse to see the sword up with the arc of anger? Or is the temptation too great and I want to take it personally? And in that taking of it personally, I go right back into the past. Every single time, it'll be right back into the past. It'll be familiar. It'll be something that you think you know. But the calling of love is there to recognize this is not personal. There is no personal. It's a call for love. Am I available? Am I available in the teachings of love to bring love and peace to every beloved? And to refuse the personal because it has no meaning. It's old, it's familiar, but it's not the truth. You are the light of God. There is nothing personal about being the light of God. It's intimate. It's the divine intimacy of the universe where you truly belong, but it isn't personal. Personal is the self-identity. And as soon as something becomes personal, it becomes painful, and you live in the past, in a familiar remaking of an old belief, of an old experience. This is where all the healing is. To love each beloved with complete equality, not because you know one better than the other or you like one better than the other, but that they are all the divine truth of God. And we're here. I have come into this world to see this, to see the transformation into the truth of love. And to see it because I choose it, and to see it because I affirm it, and because I want to see each beloved as that light of God. How deeply is our opportunity of learning love? There's a beautiful teaching that shakes the foundation of the identity in a beautiful way. Do you believe in what you know? Becomes the question to bring into a place of humility. Do you believe in what you know? If everything you think you've made of talents and ambitions and even the personality self were made in arrogance, do you believe you can decide what's truly helpful? That you personally can decide what's truly helpful without asking for guidance and to be shown the way. So if you believe that you can decide that, how do you know what's truly helpful if your ego mind is devoted to arrogance? Because your ego mind is devoted to arrogance. Arrogance is fear. It just completes the agreement of I know. I know how it should be. I know what it means. I know what's happening. Instead of, I need to see this in peace. I need to see through the heart of God. Show me the truth. When true humbleness dawns, You can no longer tolerate doing or speaking anything unless it is obviously coming from the alignment with Spirit. That is the resting place of peace. That you can't tolerate it anymore. You can't tolerate doing or speaking anything unless it's coming from the Holy Spirit. Because you're not going to trust your knowing. You want to wait and recognize what you're here for, to see those swords drop. But you give it all to God. Show me the way. Show me how to be truly helpful. It is only the Spirit's use of words and deeds which are truly helpful. This is very humbling. Yet, in order to use our words, the Spirit must be given everything of ourselves. That's the journey. I don't know anything. I have no opinions. Show me the way. This is very humbling because your true helpfulness is only in the control of the Christ energy. You bring forth your Christ energy by saying, I don't know anything of what this means, but I'm here to serve love. And in that, your Christ energy comes forward. You connect with your spirit, with the Christ energy that you truly are. And this becomes an experience of complete joy. Nothing to battle for, nothing to figure out, and nothing to worry about, because it's in the hands of God. That means that you let go of all outcomes because you are safe in the hands of God. You don't have to worry about the future because it's in the hands of God. You put your future into the hands of God, and then you rest, because if it's in the hands of God, it's all for healing. It's all for love. And you're just going to rest there, trusting, truly trusting. And as each one looks within, they begin to see no lack, no battle, nothing to prove, nothing to get. To accept as your prayer that you accept the will of God in true humility, and all you think you made will disappear. As you accept the will of God in true humility, the past will disappear. All that you think you made, which is the past, will disappear. And love will take the place of self-deception. Because love is what you are. We lay aside the arrogance which proclaims that we are damaged, that we are guilty, that we are afraid, and we lift our hearts in true humility, in the surrender to our immaculate true selves. This is the journey of love. It's arrogance to believe that you are damaged. It is humility to accept that you are pure and whole and innocent. That's the true humility. And in that humility, you invite the guidance of love, because you're not willing to depend on the past anymore. You're stepping forward with God, and God is leading always. accept the will of God means that you are willing to surrender your will, your knowing, your own personal decisions into the hands of God. And all that you think you made will disappear. And be very happy that it can disappear, because nothing that we have ever made in the belief of separation has any value. We want to let that go. This is the journey of every beloved who has woken up, is that it's the leap of faith to surrender all that you thought was your identity and what you made. Let it disappear, because only the love will remain of truth, because it's what you are and who you are. There's nothing to have to hold on to except the will of God in true humility. God does not want you to suffer. There's nothing in love that wants you to suffer. So who and where does the suffering come from? It's not coming from God. Everyone believes it's coming from something outside, but it's not coming from outside. It's coming from the belief of separation in your own mind. And that's what's being called to be surrendered. Take my mind. Take my mind and cleanse it of all ideas. Give your mind back to God. It's been hijacked, kidnapped by a false identity. A false identity of arrogance that wanted you to believe that you're going to control the universe on your own. But really, there's truly nothing to control. And the invitation to invite love to heal everything. Elevate my mind to God in the highest, so that I can recognize the beauty and the perfection of all creation and join in that beauty and perfection, because it's where I belong. That's your humility. I belong in the heart of God. I will not accept anything else. That is humility. The arrogance says, no, I'm in charge as a separate person, and I know something of my own. And that's the fear. It's all fear. And you're being called to love and resting in peace where there is no fear. Letting it all go in the power of your yes. As we lift our hearts in true humility in the surrender to our immaculate true selves. Your true self. Perfect in every way. See it in everyone and in everything. See the reflection. As you see the reflection in every beloved, you see yourself. You may have heard that 1,000 times, but it's to actually manifest through that intention that you can transform everything in your willingness. So in this moment, you have come into this world to see this moment, to see the union of love, and to open the heart to God's grace, the perfection of the light that is within and all that there is. One heart.